Meeting is being transcribed and summarized.
We are going to start our meeting as soon as possible. We are expecting about a 12 to 15-minute delay, but we're going to go on mute. The meeting will stay open and we'll come back. All right, welcome back. Caused us to delay the start of today's meeting. We had the filing deadline last night at 9 o'clock, and that ran into several hours of overtime, and then we had some major action this morning with some withdrawals. Don't really need to go anything else for that, so we will officially call the meeting to order at 10:21. There is a quorum present. We have all 5 members in the house. Okay, and I will jump down to our little welcome and president's remarks. Just a reminder, we are being recorded. It is on the back there, so make sure that you keep everything proper. Thank you for those joining from the public. And welcome, Peta, to our board, our newest member. We've got a lot of work coming up this year with the election year, and we're going to talk about all that down here. We've got a calendar and things, but you'll see that the party affiliation stops at the door. Everything that we do is, the major thing that we do is make sure that every person that's eligible to vote, their ballot counts. We want every ballot to count if at all possible. We do go over the canvas. That's primarily one of the big things. We go over the canvas and we determine what did the voter have in mind for this ballot when there's marks all over the place. We try to get into the voter's head and figure it out. You'll see as we go through it. We're usually unanimous. There's no, it's like, yep, this is pretty clear. We usually all agree on things. We don't really get involved in the day-to-day here at the office. Our one employee is sitting right here. She runs this office phenomenally. She does Baltimore County proud. She does the state of Maryland proud. Rui is a phenomenal asset. And we push a lot on her. She does a lot. She responds back with that. Were there any additions, changes, or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, I have 2, if that's okay, Mr. President. I received 1 confidential voter request, so I would like to add that under new business for the board to review that request.
Yep.
And then also, we have our new employees started when I originally posted the agenda. I didn't know their definite start date, so I added administration of oath. And I would like to request that be added under announcements and disclosures, number 10. And then we'll do meeting information and move on, if that's okay. There's 4 employees that need to be administered the oath. And to that end, there's the temporary staffing are starting in the next couple weeks. So I would like to know if I can work it out with Al to come and administer the oath for them so that we don't wait till the 18th. That way they can go in the warehouse, touch the equipment, all that kind of stuff.
If Al's okay with that, I'm okay.
Do you mind? We'll just work out what works
I
with
don't
you.
mind, but I'll do it anyway. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mind.
All right, and then also shortly after that, the ballot box teams start. So they, if it's not right around a board meeting, I'll work it out with you so that they get administered the oath sooner rather than later, because they'll be touching ballot. Those are the only 2 additions that I would like to request.
Anybody see any problems with that? All right, then we'll make those adjustments. Rita will bring in, is Rita still doing the credential?
I believe I have it, but Rita might bring it.
Okay, yep.
Thank you.
All right, so with those changes, we'll continue on with our agenda. Approval of the minutes. So the minutes were electronically sent. I know I saw Laverne comment and said that they were good. Did anybody have any other corrections or adjustments or anything that needed for do them separately? The December 11th meeting. Did anybody see any issues with those? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the December 11th board meeting in closed session.
Make a motion to accept the December 11th board minutes in the closed meeting.
Second.
Right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not, all in favor? Any opposed? All right. And then the January 7th, that was our special meeting. Al, you were in person, right? Yeah. Anybody have any corrections or any adjustments to those minutes? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Make a motion to accept the January 7th meeting, special meeting minutes.
All right, it's been moved.
Second.
Al seconds. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, for our minutes, let's jump right into our director's report.
All right, and here's the updated version. This report in January, because it was a special meeting, we didn't, do everything we normally do at a meeting. So we had the events and meetings from both January and February, in the report. I have some highlights I wanted to talk about. In your, board folders, I emailed you, and then also hard copies in your board folders of the updated board schedule for 2026. Also, the state board added the correct withdrawal date to the election calendar, which is March 6th. So that is now, I gave you the updated election calendar as well in your board packets. The full list of candidates is included. A final proof of that needs to happen, obviously, because candidate filing ended last night at 9 o'clock. So we did a preliminary proof this morning, but a complete proof will be done. If there's any changes, I'll certainly let you know right away, but that list is the list. What I had them do is highlight any of our countywide contest candidates. The 2026 legislative tracker is also in your board packets. If you remember, I print that spreadsheet for you, but I also send the tracker by email that has the links that you write to the proposed bills. And then in that tracker, I let you know whether it's cross-filed, give a little brief explanation of it. And then if we ever have any testimony or anything, because if you remember, I've spoken before the Senate and the House before, I always let you know in advance, give you an opportunity to review or weigh in, or if there's ever a bill that you would like me to speak on, you let me know. Right now, there's nothing that really stands out that I feel like we need to discuss. The bill for redistricting, although it passed one of the chambers, the House, it is still sitting in the Senate. I don't think that it's dead yet, but the candidate filing closed yesterday, so I don't see how it would happen. The other bill that was interesting that I wanted to note is the 2026 redistricting. Currently our school board, although it's a countywide office position, the makeup of it is outlined in state law. So when the council increased to 9, I spoke with the delegation and explained to them, and we've talked about this before, that the school board has historically mirrored the council districts with but there was no provision in that state law. So the Board of Ed districts remain the same, 7. So there is a proposed bill, but it also will not be able to move forward for this election cycle because it's too late, obviously, again. But to increase the school board to 9 districts and again, mirror the council districts, that will put a lot of people on the school board. So there's some people that think that's too many, leave it the way it is, but there's some people that want it to change. But right now, we don't need to worry about it. If it does change, it would change for the 2028 election cycle. It would have to go back before legislation. That's what I'm saying. If you have any questions on legislation, I'll do my best to help you with it once we're able to review that tracker. Now, the rest of my report. Did anybody have any questions on that? All right, so we continue to have routine, obviously, management supervisors and staff meetings. We have our monthly or weekly beginning of the week team meeting. And at the same time, we do like a self-care, taking care of others, short team building activity. The staff seems to really like that. We implemented it at the beginning of 25 so that we can get used to doing it. So even when we get busy in 26, we'll remember to take a minute and take care of ourselves because our hours have already increased. I don't, it's been probably a month since I've worked a actual 40-hour week. So I want to make sure that I set a good example, take breaks, things like that, because I've noticed that when I don't besides I might get a little grumpy or anxious, I notice that when I don't do that, I notice my team then doesn't do that. They will eat, they will work while they're eating through their lunch because they see me doing that. So I've really been trying to make an effort to stop, go in my conference room, have lunch, walk around the office, because then I'm silently giving them permission to do it. Because whether it's a scheduled break or a scheduled lunch break, they will keep working when there's a lot to do because they're extremely dedicated, appreciated. So those self-care and taking care of other activities are so important to me that we continue. So I figured if we got in the habit in 25, hopefully we'll make sure we keep doing it in 2026. We are also almost finished with the path to receiving our election excellence certification. We will be one of the first 75 jurisdictions in the whole country to achieve that goal. I'm very excited about that. There's a meeting coming up when we're gonna discuss, find out what exactly needs to happen and when it's going to take place. But that certification is different than any other certification because it's saying our office has met these standards. And as you know, the standards are very lengthy and they're very complex. I'm proud of my team because it's been a lot of work. Even though we've been so busy, they've still stayed on task, stayed on point, joined every meeting, done every assignment, did all the pre-work, the post-work, everything. So we're almost there. And then that designation would be our entire office. It's something we can put on our letterhead if you want, that we are received the certification in election excellence. Our voter outreach, education, and registration events, along with election judge recruitment, that's continuous and ongoing. A list is included in your board folders of any that we've attended or that we're gonna attend, that are planned. We've gotten a very, very high increase of requests to do the volunteer voter registration training. Every request that I receive, I make sure we accommodate, whether we go there or they come here. Last night we conducted a training for the Democratic Central Committee, and they've asked me to come to their March 17th meeting to provide an election briefing. And of course, if the Republican Central Committee asks me, I will be happy to do the same for them. The state board is now doing, they call them a state board and local board collaboration meetings. Those are monthly, but they're doing weekend, they call it weekly check-in meetings, which normally they're supposed to take 30 minutes and usually they take an hour and a half. But I've been attending those as much as possible unless they conflict with another commitment. Let me see what other things stand out that we've done. Oh, the MEAE training, which is the required training for key election officials across Maryland. There was one in January that we attended, and there's one coming up, I think, in February. That of course we'll attend. Let me see. That's basically all of the rest of the meetings are listed out, so I won't go through those. Some of them I might speak to when I get to that in the director's report. I did want to say that the county executive came to visit. She had sent a request to meet with me and visit and tour our office. Although when she was Senator Claus Maurer, she did attend our ribbon cutting, if you remember. But there was a lot of people here. They say it was the largest ribbon cutting in Baltimore County history, but there are a whole bunch of people here. So she didn't get the full tour. So she wanted to come and just talk to me, see how we're doing. And also tour the office. So she did come, but ironically, her visit was postponed because there was candidate filing and the news were here at the same time she was supposed to come. So she didn't come that day, and postponed it. And then it got rescheduled for the day after my stage 1 budget meeting with the administrative officer and the director of budget and finance. And ironically, she wanted to join that meeting too. So, she did join that meeting. I held that meeting, and then Madam County Executive came the next day, and she walked around, met people, talked to people. It was a very nice visit and tour. She was very impressed with our warehouse too. And I think all the years that she's been, on ballots and things like that, I don't think it ever came together till she saw it all together. Like she's been at polling places with maybe 1 or 2 scanners or whatever, or at an early voting site, but just seeing the magnitude of the equipment, that's something. And usually we get that same reaction from everybody that sees it. All right, so now if there's no questions, I'll move on to my regular budget, director's report. So, as far as the fiscal year 27 budget, I, presented my draft to the administration, and I also did the stage 1, which includes my projection and overview for our current fiscal year 2026. Our budget for 2027 will increase. That increase is directly due to the cost of the new poll books, new voting system, and new statewide voter registration system. I've ordered the poll books. We have 922 in the current system, but we need 1,014. So I've placed that order. I'm still in the process of working with Amanda to get a definite number on what we need for new voting equipment. We are getting 4 high-speed scanners. We have 3 currently, but we need 4. The new equipment, the vendor has been selected for both. 10X is the poll book vendor, ES&S is the equipment vendor. I know the total cost of the equipment, which is shared 50-50 with the state as well as the poll books. However, I don't know the amortization schedule for the financing, but I do know it's going to be billed 25%, 25%, 25%, 25% over a four-year or 4 fiscal years. But I don't know those numbers yet because they haven't been given to me. As soon as I have them, I will share that with the board.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna wonder is the state gonna force us to pay for it all in 1 year, which is
No.
gonna increase our.
Now, we do have the option of doing that, but they're not billing it, whether you finance or whether you pay it outright. They're not billing it in one bill. They're billing 25% after delivery. They have a schedule already how they're billing it out. So the county and the administration and we haven't determined whether we're going to finance. We know we're financing the poll books. We don't know if we're financing the voting equipment yet because they want that information, but it's my guess we will finance it through the state treasury's office. But they want to wait and see the actual cost. I know the total cost of the equipment, right? I know that's split 50-50. I can multiply it out and come out with what I think the equipment is going to cost. But along with the equipment, there's Network Maryland, there's the administrative costs, there's the election reporting system, and all those other costs that we pay a percentage on depending on the number of registered voters. And that percentage is determined. Every jurisdiction pays a different percent towards the 100% of the cost. So, and I don't know that yet. Do you see what I mean? So although I can kind of narrow down what it's going to cost us for the actual hardware equipment, the solution, I have no idea what the other costs are going to be. So, and that's I'm waiting for the state board. As soon as I know, I'll share.
What is the
I'll share that with
expectation
you.
for a timeline for that?
So, well, they gave me an estimated amount and they told me how they came up with that estimated amount. And I included that in my fiscal year 27 budget, but Director Reed and the AO, the administration, they know that that number could change because they don't know yet, because they haven't set up the finance schedule with the SDO. And so the contract was just awarded not too long ago. That's
When do
why I
you think,
didn't know.
when do you think state board will have definitive final numbers to you?
I don't know. I'm guessing probably by the end of March, maybe.
Soon.
Yeah. I mean, they were just, with the process, first they can't say who it is. Then once they're allowed to say who it is. So I think not long. And then the final piece of the puzzle is the new statewide voter registration system, which is also, that's starting the procurement process. So we don't know, we have an idea what the total cost will be, but again, it's by a percentage. So I don't know our percentage exactly yet. I know how they determine our percentage and stuff, but I don't know that cost. They said they're working on the FBO and the RFP. So that's in the beginning of processes. So to the best of my knowledge, the poll books, the new poll books, we have to buy new printers again. And the new voting system will be implemented in 2028. The new statewide voter registration system will be implemented in 2030. However, don't forget, we start paying for that prior because we have to pay the administrative costs for them to go through the process of selecting the stuff. So I expect by the time I present the final budget to the administration and the county that I should have better numbers, but we have a pretty accurate idea, and that's included in the fiscal year 27. Now I'm on the election office. The annual fire alarm and fire extinguisher testing was completed. There were, the fire chief asked us to put up additional signs. I don't know if anybody noticed on some of the closets and doors that say electrical is in here. So we did that. We didn't get a sign company, Amanda and I did it like we did the rest of the indoor signs. So it was a minimal expense. I think it cost us $10. $10 on a Saturday. We came in and did it. So those are all up. So we passed all the inspections and the fire extinguishers are good. The regular pest control was completed and the HVAC system is routinely monitored. The floor cleaning, we get that done about twice a year. That's going to take place on March 7th. It was supposed to happen in December, but I asked them to wait till after the weather, but then it's been snowing. So maybe I should have waited a little bit longer, but it's scheduled for March the 7th, which is a Saturday. And that's when they do all of the floors and all of the carpets. The other interesting thing or special thing that's happened in our offices, I know you guys have noticed that our state employees have different badges than you all have. So it is a little bit of a process to get the state badge set up in the county badge system. So it usually takes a week or two. And there's a lot of people at OIT. It wasn't a streamlined process. So I said to Amanda, there's got to be a better way. So I asked for a meeting with the deputy director, who is also the oversees access management for the county. And Amanda and I met with him and I explained what we do. He's brand new. So I explained what we do because I had heard through the grapevine that the other county agencies, whether they're state or county employees, they all get county badges. And I thought, well, that makes sense. And that would automatically happen because all of the state employees go in the county workday. So if you remember, state employees are in both workday systems. I have to hire them in the state workday system, then I turn around and hire them in the county workday system. When an employee goes through the county workday system, getting access to things is almost automatic. But because it's a state badge, it's not their badge number. It's a little more, she has to take like 2 extra steps to get it activated. long story short, they agreed with me and we're gonna do it like, the other thing is, because the state badges were done that way forever, however long since like they were on Weiss Avenue or whatever, 30 years ago. None of the state employees' profile or picture was in the county badge system. And that was a concern to me. I know what my team looks like, but nobody else does, right? Or they might not. So I thought everybody's picture needs to be in there. Everybody's name information needs to be in the same county system. We're in the county building. So they agreed, and that's what we're doing. Amanda and I are working with that. So we will still have our state badges that we need, like when I go to Annapolis or wherever I go, but we'll have county badges that everybody uses through this, around the office. It'll look similar to your badges, except for it'll say state employee, but it'll still be bought just like that, except for it'll say somewhere on it, it says state employee. But it'll still say Board of Elections with the CO and all that. So probably not by the next time we come, that'll be going on. As far as the warehouse and equipment, the first cycle of the routine voting equipment charging has already started. And what Amanda and her team are doing is concurrently with the charging the equipment, they're doing the annual inventory of all the equipment, which is due June 30th. We're gonna get it done way before June 30th, obviously, because the primary is June 23rd. So we're trying to get it done in the next 30 days. So that's done, out of the way, and we don't need to worry about it when we get busier and busier. I already talked about the new poll book solution, new voting and system in the legislation. The risk limiting audit regulations have been finalized by the state board. If the board wants a copy, let me know. I am taking those regulations, obviously, as we always have to do, and make our county specific processes. Where Amanda and I are doing that, but we're doing that at the same time that we are doing the tests, or with it's kind of a fake, or we're doing a fake one, but so we see how long it takes. Like, we know it's going to be similar to our manual audit, but we're not exactly sure all the different things that it entails, because rather than us finding out the number randomly from the state administrator a week before the audit, we do the audit, program randomly selects it, right? So her and I have to go to training for that program. And then once we go to that training, once we finish the test or the pilot, whatever you want to call it, practice or risk limiting audit, I'll be able to let the board know. I'll have a better idea how long it'll take, how we're going to do it. But again, my plan is to do it very similar to the manual audit, bipartisan teams, live stream, transparent, and all of those things. The Voter Services Department has been on top of everything as always. Everything has been submitted either prior to the deadline or by the deadline. The manual audit of all records continues. And Kim, where are we on that number?
That number, we're actually doing really, really good. I know we're in the 6 digits. Hold on. Total number, records audited now is 122,500 and some, but it's doing really good. And we're actually finding that we're still not finding a lot of errors or things of that nature.
That are errors.
Actual errors. I know the concerns have been with the double voting, none of that. It's strictly been clerical things within the record that are now required by the state as an audit finding that wasn't previously. Does that make sense?
Telephone numbers.
Yes.
Or emails or things.
Yeah, emails used to not be required. Like, if you registered to vote when I did, an email wasn't required, but now it is. So if we have that person's email, we're adding it, or phone number, we're adding it.
And the state wants the numbers to be in the cell one. It used to, now it defaults to it. It didn't before. So we're taking that advantage of that so that if they do it, a permanent MIB or MIB for communications is already in there.
Already in there. Yeah. So
Number again.
I'm sorry.
you have the list.
It's in the packet.
It's in your packet.
So, and keep in mind, there's two different months there.
Okay.
So one's December, one's January, because the January meeting, you didn't get the special meeting, you didn't get the certificate. So you have both January and February in there. The other thing with with voter services is somebody asked me, I can't remember which board member, you wanted to know, is there a report that shows like how many people have changed their party or whatever? That you can, there's no report that shows exactly that, but the monthly statistics that I give you every month shows how many Dems, how many reps, how many unaffiliated in the other party affiliations. So you can compare one month to another and you can see the changes in that. And it also shows you for people that may move out of our jurisdiction or move in, things like that. And those reports are also always posted on our website. We post those, we keep that posted on our website. Okay, the election judge training department.
Somebody was asking, it does show you the changes. Was that what somebody was asking? It shows you how many changed from Dem.
Is that just oh?
I was saying, because I usually look
It's
at
been a
that.
minute
to
since
see.
I saw that report.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, it is there. What page is it on?
some
Page
pages.
2. My apologies.
Yeah, it shows you what they
Thank you, Will.
changed from and what
Yeah.
they changed to.
Yeah,
I didn't ask it because I do. I look at those numbers just to see
Yeah.
how parties.
it's
change.
on page 2. So if you ever, and just keep in mind, that's a monthly report.
Right.
So, and it goes from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. It doesn't go, it's not like a fiscal, it doesn't. It's not like the rest of the stuff we give you. The rest of the stuff that we give you goes from the last board meeting to the next board meeting.
Cumulative, this one.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
And this one just does the monthly,
yeah.
January
Never-
1 to January
I didn't
30.
realize that. So that's good to know too. Anyway.
Show you, I
Yeah.
do read those.
Election judge and training department has been very busy. They've, for Help America Vote Act Day, we sent out a newsletter and an appreciation of their service was extended. They've also finished the upgrading the training program with training videos, and we're also going to offer, rather than 3 hours of in-person, returning judges will have the option to take 1 hour virtually and then 2 hours in person for the hands-on. Copies of the training calendars are in your packets. Keep in mind that its classes don't fill. Sometimes there's changes in the calendar. I always recommend that the board members attend a training class. I always recommend the chief class, but of course it's up to you which class you want to go to. And if you're gonna attend, please just let me know so I can verify there is a class that day. But we start training the trainers the second week in March, and the third week in March is when the classes actually begin. The manual was completed and it's currently at the printers being printed. The same day registration manual and the address change manual is not complete through no fault of anybody in this office. The template that was provided was not accurate, and I did not want to use a inaccurate book again. So my team took the poll book emulator and we did our own accurate screenshots of what the poll book does for the process, and we're fixing the manual so that the provisional judge or same day judge, what they see in the book is actually what it says on the screen and what the VAC looks like and all of that stuff. Those classes don't start until April or so. So we had a little bit of time, and I thought that I've been asking for it to be fixed for a couple of years. And I said, well, we're just going to do it ourselves this year, because I know it's frustrating with the judges. If you say, you tap this, and then in the book, it says the screen's gonna look like this, but we say, oh, it doesn't look like this, it actually says that. That's confusing. So now it'll match. So, thank you, by the way, Amanda, for getting the emulator put on, a laptop so we could do the screenshots. I expect probably by the March meeting, those manuals will be finished. Once I get the printed versions, I always give the board, copies of the manuals.
Now, we asked last time for that video that you're making for the online. Can we have access to?
Yes, you want it now? Because
You have
which is people, places, and things, right? It's what can happen in a polling place, who can be in there, the purpose, all that type. That is that first 45 minutes to an hour training. And then there's an assessment that they take. And then we know that they completed the assessment. We can tell they did the video. And then they're able to sign up for one of the 2-hour classes. And this is where it's pilot, the first time we're trying this. So we're starting with just our election judges. For a primary, I want the chiefs to come in and I want to make sure they got the reports down and all of that. And everybody wanted to try, and I think they got a little frustrated with me when I said no. They wanted everybody to have that choice, but I said, same day registration, provisional, and chiefs for the primary, let's let them come in, even if they're returning, get the whole full in person. Election judges, let's give this a try, see how it works, and maybe we'll expand it in the general, or maybe we'll wait till 2028 and expand it for other, other types of judges. But what Kim can do is she'll send the link, because Casey, she sent us the link to.
I have the link, the email, because it's still in the test. But the
Okay.
other thing to add is that the quiz that they take also when they get their confirmation, that correct their answers and the corrected answers are in there as well.
Now, do you get a report on each, like you have to create an account so that Will Fewer is going in and taking this?
It's not an account, you get a link. So, okay, in the past, when somebody signed up, they could give their neighbor the password and their neighbor could sign up. It's not gonna be quite like that this time. So returning judges will get a different type of link for that video. And then they can't sign up for the 2-hour class until they've completed the link and done the little assessment.
Now, once they do that,
A list.
do you get a report that says Al and Derek and Will all took the test and everybody got this question wrong? So that way, maybe we didn't cover this completely in the training and maybe it needs to be adjusted, or just for the feedback.
So we're not see their answers. So yes, but no.
Not
I mean,
directly, but
we're not there all the way there yet. I know we're still working with OIT, because they built this, they're building it for us. Sam is building it like she built the WUFU program for us. So we're not, we wanted to do that, but we're not there yet, but we can still implement it. And we will know that they did do all of the questions. But it won't be just a report that says they got
you'll
5.
be able to see if
wrong.
it looks like 50% of the people were getting question 1 wrong. Is it something the
Yeah.
way it's worded,
Yeah.
or was it not covered completely and they don't understand it or
Right.
something?
You'll be able to see, because it will list it out their answers and what the correct answer
Okay.
was on that confirmation.
Right, that's what thank you.
Confirmation, yes.
So I just wanted to give kudos to Casey Pillar. And I know Kimberly and Amanda spent a lot of time proofing and going through not only the developing the new, I had an idea and they made it all happen. I took a very big step back, as hard as it was, because training is the love of my life. I took a big step back and I let them do it, and they did an amazing job. Casey is very deserving of her position. She did a wonderful job. Kim proofed, I know Blair, she's the new supervisor of the judge department. She also helped Casey. Casey's the program manager for the training department. And, but anyway, I just wanted that on record, that I appreciate and I recognize the time that went into this. And then she also took my previous train the trainer manuals and upgraded those, so yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to her. I talked about, then train the trainer. Did I say that already? Okay.
Now, for the trainings, I might assume, just to make sure, all of these are here unless it says like Solars.
Yes. So thank you. That's what I forgot to say. Thank you, Mr. President. All of the trainings will be here except for 2 weeks will be on the east side at Solars Point. They built this building, or this part of the building, for training classes. So we need to use this room for that. And I think we did 4 weeks in 24 and we had to cancel a lot of the classes. So I'm doing 2 weeks. I'm doing 2 weeks on the east side. And we made it later in May so that, because if you make it earlier, then the people that get hired later miss out on those earlier dates. So we tried to make it later in May.
I'll look at my calendar and let you know, because sometimes I just like to pop in and say, thank you guys for doing this.
Yeah, and if you wanna, now you can tell whether the class is a class, they take the video first by the number of hours of the class. Like if it's 5 to 7, that's a 2-hour class. So that would be a returning judge class that took the
3-hour
video.
one.
It's the full in-person 3-hour one. It's all the same information on the video. Yeah.
Is OM Owings Mills?
So that's the weekend before, that's when we're doing supply pickup, right? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, those are early voting. So here we're doing our early voting training while remember, we don't need all the equipment for early voting training. So I said, well, rather than, why not do both? Because I can have staff go do the Flowers Point and me, Kim and Amanda can stay here and do early voting.
Okay.
Because there's 11 early voting sites, so that takes up a lot of Saturdays. And then that way, we're still able to use Saturdays for judge training. But yes, OM is Owings Mills. And then we're also going to the Owings Mills Library the weekend before, wait a minute, the weekend between, I think I talked about this a little bit. I said, I was trying to work it out and I was able to work it out. So early voting happens Thursday to Thursday. Friday we do EFS training, things like that. Then we get the bulk update. We do the bulk update Friday night into Saturday morning, and then supply pickup starts Saturday. It happens Sunday. That happens back there. We're now required to also canvas. So canvas will be going on in here. And then because we still have last minute training, as always, because the last minute quits, I've secured the Owings Mills Library for the last minute training and the open house for judges to practice on equipment. I got all 3 of the meeting rooms and then the small little room that's on the 3rd floor at the Owings Mills Library. That way we're meeting our requirement to canvas. It doesn't mess up supply pickup because that'll be at the warehouse. And we still have those couple days we need for the last minute training. But other than that, the rest of the training will be here. So as far as the preparations for the election, they're well underway. You can tell by the amount of meetings and things. If you read like through the meetings I've been through, you pretty much can tell what we've been doing and how we've been preparing. Of course, all the supplies have been ordered. We've gotten additional provisional bags. We have 15 more polling places than we did in 2024. So that Amanda and I have figured out how we can work that, even though I don't have 15 additional scanners and 30, 40 additional poll books. We figured out how we can make it work with our current election equipment supply. We've also started to develop the draft of our sample or practice ballot. New Maryland law requires, we're one of the jurisdictions that's required to now provide the sample ballot in English and in Spanish on our website. The one that's mailed to voters is just in English. And I was thankful for that because it would have been a double, instead of being 6 pages, it would have been 12. So, and I didn't have it in the budget. That was why I was thankful. However, if someone wants a sample ballot in Spanish, they can print it from the website, or if they call and ask us, we can print it from the website. The practice ballot. The other requirement in that law is that any of my voter information, well, not any, but there's certain voter information that we must also now provide in English and Spanish. Baltimore County got ahead of this because if you remember, we started in 22 having different documents in both. And so that part of the requirement we met 50% in 22, 100% in 24, even though it just became law in 26. The only thing that we didn't do was the sample ballot on the website. in 20, Amanda stepped out, but I can't remember exactly when, but our website, you've been able to translate on our website for a while now. So that was super easy for me to implement. Matter of fact, the first meeting I went to, when they said, when they were going through the 5 counties that it affects, when they got to Baltimore County, I done, because we've already been doing it. So, I don't know if that law is gonna change again, and we're gonna have to mail the ballot out, the sample ballot in English and Spanish, but if it does, I will certainly let you know. Are there any questions on that? I started the process to get our 3 county vehicles for ballot box retrieval. One of them is gonna come, I forget the date, March 8th, I have to go pick it up. We're gonna get a minivan and 2 SUVs or Suburbans. Those I didn't ask for until April 1st. There was no sense in getting them early, if some other county agency can use them. In a presidential, the primary's in April, so I get them like in January or February, but the primary was in June, so I put it off, save a little bit of money and allow the other counties to use it. I also started the process to coordinate our election pre-planning meetings. The state board setup has already told me the date. Like the state health department, MEMA, and those groups. My pre-election meeting are our county partners, county agency partners and stakeholders. I've started the process to coordinate those meetings. Last time, Will and President Fuhrer and Vice President Johnson attended the last meeting because you all were gonna be in the command center for me. Can you guys, you don't have to tell me today, but can you think about that so I can let Colonel Kelly and them know who's gonna be in the command center. And then that way, that's just one question I know they're gonna ask me. So think about that and let me know. And then that way I can also let you know way in advance of that 3rd meeting that we have right before early voting starts. So that you could put that on your date. And that last meeting usually takes about an hour and a half because every agency goes through everything. Okay. I'll keep you updated as that happens, but so far I've gotten positive responses from all of our partner agencies. In 2022, we provided hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks to all of the polling places because I was able to secure them from the state or our county, one of the property management or whoever. In 24, the state didn't have any. We still provided the gloves and the hand sanitizer, and we did send out the masks, even though most of those came back. People didn't really use a lot of masks in 24. In 24, I also provided Stop the Bleed kits at all of our early voting sites, and the schools have them already at those locations. So any of our private locations that aren't county buildings, we send a Stop the Bleed kit, and then all the early voting sites had one. All of our staff received Stop the Bleed training. I also secured the Narcan or Naloxone. Is it Naloxone, Naloxone? Naloxone, Narcan, and we were trained on Stop the Bleed and the
Naloxone.
okay, that's it. So between our emergency management and the state, I can't remember how many they gave me. I think they gave me like 20. But our emergency management gave us enough for all our precincts. Which that was fine. But we did get them back. So we put them in the room, and a couple weeks ago I thought, does that stuff expire? Because I knew my prescriptions expire. So I went in and looked, and they do expire actually this month. So I have in talks with Chief Bykoff and the health department to see if I can get Stop the Bleed kit. I mean, I don't need any of those. I can get more Narcan, and we've ordered the hand sanitizer for all the polling places, and we already have the gloves. And the other thing that we're doing is in the mailroom, I've ordered those the paper gowns that you put on if there's a suspicious something in the mail. And then we're getting we're gonna have the plastic that we can just roll down and seal off that room, the production room. So all of those things are either in progress, done, or I'm working on it for the election. The candidate filing, I told you, there's 264 candidates that will appear on our ballot. That's a preliminary proof. I got to proof it, I do a final proof, but it's 264 that state on our ballot, with 146 of those candidates are countywide. Kudos to all of us for being able to keep with 146 candidate filings, because we only had one microphone. I asked voter registration system, I couldn't just purchase a microphone. So about 3.5 weeks later, the state board tells me, which is 2 weeks ago, this is where you can get a microphone. I order it and I got it like 4 days later because of shipping. But I was thankful for that, because then I was able to set up 2 candidate filing rooms. And then when we were inundated, there was still a wait, but it wasn't too bad, was it, Miss Dorsey Walker?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't, so it wasn't too bad. But we made it through, and congratulations to those candidates. I'm excited to see the ballot, because I don't remember the last time we had a 2-page ballot. I'm not talking about front and back, because there's no questions in a primary, but with 146 candidates now, I haven't built our ballot yet, but I'm guessing that we're gonna have a 2-page ballot for the primary. The withdrawal date is March the 6th, so again, that number might change too because of the withdrawals. The new voter registration cards were mailed to all the registered voters after we finished the redistricting. The cost was about $240,000 for the printing. Yeah, it's expensive. We have almost 600,000 voters. So the total was, that was 583,219. That's how many active voters we have. If you add inactive, the number goes up over 100,000. During the mass mailing period, which means from the time that we did the upload and gave it to the printer, they printed and mailed it out, was about a week and a half. During that week and a half, I held the in-house voter cards, because I didn't want them, if somebody made an update, moved, or whatever, I didn't want them to get that one before they got that one, because then they would get that one and think that we changed it back. So we held those for that little bit of a period, let that mass mailing get all the way out. Once I got confirmation that all of them were delivered, because we have that program that I can keep up with that, then we sent out an additional 7,137, which means in a week and a half, 7,137 voters either registered to vote, updated their record, or, yeah, that's a lot. I just thought that number impressed me, because I thought, that's a lot. I mean, that just shows that our team is definitely working. I also included the updated polling place list, just in case. I wasn't sure whether I had given it to you guys after you approved the plan on January 7th. So I gave you another copy. You can't hard to have 2 copies of that. So that's in your board folders. And then,
Excuse me, Roy. Do I remember correctly that a couple of 1 or 2 of the locations were contingent on a further investigation from an earlier meeting, or am I misremembering?
you're misremembering. The polling places didn't have any investigations.
Okay.
I've also started the process with, well, I mean, everything's already been submitted to the state board, and the deadline is passed. So there's a ballot box one that I'm not sure of the exact location at that address, but it's still going to that address. Yeah, there's 3 of those, if that's what maybe that's what you're remembering. Victory Villa, well, the old courthouse in Towson and CCBC Hunt Valley. There's gonna be a ballot box, all three of those locations, but exactly where, that I haven't determined yet. I was waiting for the weather to break a little bit. I need to meet with property management, the camera guy, all of that. That's scheduled for like the third week in March or so. I'll do that. But, so that's probably what you're remembering. Cause I didn't want to say an exact location until, I actually physically went to those locations, and I want to make sure that Victory Villa doesn't have the same issues we ran into in 24. I want to make sure that the camera at CCBC is going to be adequate for what's required, things like that. I'm working with the Office of Law on the polling place agreements and the MOUs. That's a process because, you know, they have to go through Office of Law and then to the administration and then back to me and then back to the people. So that should be done, I'm hoping by the end of March, and those will all be in place. The 2026 employee handbook was updated and all employees were given a copy and signed the receipt. A copy of that is in your board folders. Baltimore County now requires every agency to have they have a countywide heat prevention illness policy. They also require each agency to have a agency-specific one that addresses what the operations of that agency. In 25, we weren't outside, so I got a waiver. We didn't have to do it in 25. However, I was prepared for 26, so we started working on our 26 one in 25. So what happens is after the agency finishes their agency-specific heat policy, they present it to the HR director and I think the Officer of Law, who looks at it and they make sure that it's adequate. I've done all of that and they've, the HR director has approved it. And it was funny because the meeting was the day that we were closed because of the snow in January. So it was just funny. We were having a heat prevention meeting on the day we're closed for snow. But all of that's completed and the employees will get that. I was gonna wait until like the end of March or so and give them that. If I give it to them right now, they're probably gonna be like, why am I getting this now? Anyway, some of the things we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure the ballot box teams have small coolers with water because they are out in the heat, especially in June. It's very hot. All of the vehicles have air conditioning in them, but they are in and out as they're retrieving the ballots. When the guys, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say when the guys and Amanda, when we are in the warehouse, loading equipment, all of the dock doors are open, it gets hot in there. So we're gonna have, the water station is already set up right when you walk in the warehouse, but we're also gonna have a cooler by the drive-in dock, and then, water's available for, any of the equipment delivery, transportation people. And I think we added early voting. If the air conditioner goes out at early voting, we'll have water. If the vote line is longer than, I can't remember, we will find out if we need to have water. If the voting line is outside and longer than a certain amount of time period, we would then provide water, which we did in 2020 and 22. We took water to Randallstown and Honeygo, because they were the ones with the long lines. I think I'm wrapping it up, guys. Personnel. So I told you about the 3 HR positions. Those are the 3 county positions we have during an election year. Only, there's one, state position that was, vacant because that, I can't remember why, but anyway, that's being filled, and that young man is starting in about March 4th. And then the other position, Latasha at the front desk, accepted the state position. You know, sometimes it makes me so happy when people in here want to work here and they start out at entry level and then they move up to the regular county, then they move up to state. It's a lot of work on me because each time it's an interview recruitment process. However, no, Latasha's one of those. She started out as Kennedy staffing, if you remember, in 24. Then she accepted a county position and now she's accepted one of my state positions. So then I have to turn around and recruit for the county position. Ironically, several of the temp county people have applied for the full-time county position. Those interviews are happening tomorrow, so more to come. We might need to start that recruitment again. That, I guess that's a good sign when people want to stay here and keep working here, and want the permanent, positions. All of the PEPs were submitted, actually by the end of December, way before the due date. In your, packet, I gave you a, copy of the new org chart. That's the high level org chart with our new, restructured, because now we have voter services department, before we had all those departments now. So anyway, I gave you guys a copy of that. Let me know if you have any questions. And with that, I don't have anything else to say, I don't think. Sorry, it was a long one. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
What are the possibilities, or is there a reason you don't have the party affiliation of the candidates on this document?
There's no. Would you like me to do that?
Yes,
Or
because.
can I just print you the list from the state board?
Two candidates.
Or D or U, because there's unaffiliated on there too.
Yeah, it was just, I made a quick look because I had somebody
Yeah.
call me last night. They weren't able to.
You
get
give
there.
that to, who to give it to that? I won't have to.
It is easier because the
Give it
state
to Morgan,
website
ask her to write in
lists
our.
every office
To each name.
and each
for the
party listed there, because that is not even in order. So you gotta hunt and find council one here, council
Yeah,
one.
because I put it in alphabetical.
No, I understand. I was just asking the question, was there a reason there was no party affiliation listed on?
None, just because it never dawned on me to put it.
Okay.
That just never, I'm sorry that it didn't, because you're right, I probably should have put it on there, but it just never dawned on me.
If you're
The
doing-
same way when somebody comes to file, we say what office, they say central committee, we don't say Demo rep, we just say, okay, and you know what I mean? Like, we're so used to not looking at that, it just,
To be honest, I don't believe you shouldn't even do the work of this, because it's on the site that we can
Well,
print.
this would be the last time that I do it, because candidate filing closed yesterday, so that really should have been as of February 24th. We were doing it all along, so you guys could see who was filing and the number that was filing. Somebody had asked for that, so that's why we started doing
To
it.
me,
This was the first year we did
this
this.
is harder just because it's alphabetical by name. I don't care to find somebody's name. I care for an
Yeah.
office,
Yeah,
county council, board of elections, Board of education. That's what I want to see
Yeah.
on here. So
well,
this
I mean, you guys are gonna get it, once I build the ballot, you're gonna get the ballot. You're gonna get the draft,
I've
my
got
ballot
the
too.
state board screen already on my phone because I look at it every day anyway.
Yeah.
It's easier
Well,
that
it's not
way.
gonna change anymore. Well, unless people withdraw. So there could be changes through March the 6th. But they're doing it for you right now, Al.
Thank you.
Marie, you mentioned that the regulations, yours for the risk limiting audit are available. I would like.
Okay. That's just the regulations. That's not our procedures. Okay.
Appreciate it.
I have a couple questions. You may have covered them and I just missed it or something, okay, but the answer, I am somewhat computer challenged,
Okay.
okay? So that information that I've asked for, that's
Okay.
something just I can look at and
It'd be
see.
easier if they actually just printed the state board, because you
What?
could,
She already started. Morgan's gonna do
All
it.
I wanted was council one. I don't care the others.
Oh, well, they already started. But Morgan is very fast.
But I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
I'd gotten an email of sorts that stated something about this, the state is considering curbside voting.
That's one of the proposed legislation.
Okay.
So it's not the state, it's
Has anyone
legislators.
within the legislature SBE approached you or asked you or any of your counterparts
Not this year.
for their, do they ask you for such things, for information, your thoughts and comments?
Sometimes. I very often get a fiscal note request. As far as that one is concerned, no one's asked me this year, operational impact this year, but they did ask in 2024.
Did you
I
provide
think it's
fiscal notes
700
then?
bucks.
Did you provide fiscal notes at that time for
In
20?
2024, yeah, I don't remember what it is.
Probably an inflated number based for 24 to now, but
Yeah,
they have
based-
something to base it
Hey,
on.
nobody's asked me about that this time around.
Okay, you and I had a conversation week, 10 days ago on the phone. And I had made the comment about why are we working so hard to force people to vote? You have the right to vote, you have the right not to vote.
But this is the legislator, so I mean, I don't know how to answer that.
That's my prelude into what I was going
Oh,
to
okay,
ask.
okay.
Shortly after that, you sent out an email spelling out this SBE's position on voting. That's probably not the proper description, but in
Press
reading-
release.
press release.
Yeah.
I read that and it directly followed where I was talking with you, which the state board has the AG dictating to them what the procedures and policies are, is how I read that. The Attorney General, Mr. Brown, is dictating to the state board, based on that press release, that the state board will be doing this way, and that's being passed on to you. So who is running the SBE? Attorney General Brown or a buddy that doesn't like anybody here?
So, I mean, the best way I know how to answer that is we follow federal and state law. State board has a 5-member board that is the appointing authority over the state administrator, just like you guys are my appointing authority.
Mhm.
The state board is the one who sets regulations. The regulations go through a public comment period. It goes through a period, the Attorney General's office reviews them, and then the state board votes on those regulations. And then we are required to follow those regulations, state law and federal law, whatever it is. So that's I can't answer what you're saying, a yes or a no. I can just tell you that's how it is. So the person that's Jared Demarinis is the state board administrator, but he has a 5-member board that oversees him, 3 of which are Dems, 2 of which are reps, just like our composition. They oversee him, and they also vote and establish the regulations. So they're new regulations or updated regulations.
No, I understand. I was probably making a political point. That's what.
No, we're not supposed
And
to
I
do
shouldn't be
that,
doing that. Again, we spoke about preparing for a possibility. Polls tell us that folks are in favor of voter ID for voting. When you go to vote, you're supposed to show some ID. The federal government is contemplating the SAVE Act, which would require, I know this is a bad time to ask and a bad time to prepare, and it probably won't happen for this election cycle. But have you thought about preparing what ID you would accept if that were to come into?
Well, see, and this is what I was trying to explain to you. We collectively can't make that decision, so I can't answer that, because that would be the type of ID is included in the SAVE Act, as far as I know, if that does pass. But we operate with a statewide voting system and a statewide voter registration system. So, in order whether we ask for ID or don't ask for ID, it has to be incorporated in those systems, which is not in our control.
I'm trying to be I'm trying to
It wouldn't do any good to try to figure out what we would accept because it's not going to be our decision. It's not a local decision.
Again, I understand that, okay? But if the state board is not doing anything about it, and the law is passed, that all elections are federal elections, because there are federal election being voted at that time, they're going to require certain IDs. If we research that and say, okay, these are the IDs we think would be ideal for the application, and the law is passed, then the suggestion can be made proactively by yourself, our board, to the state saying, hey, we've researched, these are things that we think.
It wouldn't be a state decision. If it's gonna flow down from the federal, it would be a federal decision, and we don't influence and change federal law. It would be stated in federal, and it would be pushed down. The state board, if federal says you must use document A, B, or C, Maryland's not gonna say A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. It's gonna be coming down from, and we're not gonna influence or tell the federal. You as an individual can speak to your congressman and your senator and do that as that. As a board. Does that make sense?
It does, okay?
I can tell you this, I can tell you this, I am constantly determining or thinking about or planning for plan B, C, E, F, G, all the way to Z. Signature requirements on, I know that's not right now. Yes, they have to have a signature, but verification, I mean. But if that happens, I already know in my mind, how would we be able to implement that regardless of the regulations, right? So yes, I've thought about things like, if we do have to require an ID or a passport, would it be in the statewide voter registration system where we scan in that document? Would we put in a number like we do now for, yes, I've absolutely thought of all those different things. What would be easy, the easier way? I hope this would be super easy to implement. What would be a little hard, So yes, I do think of things, but I don't, when it comes, unless the state board solicits our input like they did, they asked me to be on the risk limiting audit work group. So I was on that work group and I had a lot of input with, how that evolved. Unless the directors or the local boards are asked for that, that's in their purview. And I'm guessing because it is a statewide system, we probably wouldn't have I don't know whether, but I can tell you, yes, I've thought about how are we gonna make sure that we keep all of these, copies of IDs secure? Yes, I've thought about things like that. Like hopefully, maybe, I know that like when you fly out of the country, you put your passport number in, you don't have to do a scan of it because it's your passport number. You put your expiration date. So will it be similar to that? So I've thought about it. Yes, I've thought about whether I would need more employees. Yes, I would. So I've thought about things like that, but that's about as far as it goes. Until I know more.
Will not say any more at the risk of making a political statement, but I'll stop there.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments on the director's report? All right, board council's not here. He's with jury selection.
Yeah, and he didn't provide me with
And the written
the.
anything, okay, yep, so that. Any old business that we need to address? I don't think there was any, but checking. You have that confidential voter information here?
That's what I was just gonna look for, and I also need. And Josh isn't here to sign this either. I need, this is the only old business I had, this was the resolution, because you all were virtual for that meeting.
Yep.
So I just need signatures for
I
that,
can pass that around.
yeah, yeah, and then I'll just ask Josh to come and sign it.
All right, so
Or I-
any other old business, right, besides the signatures needed here?
No, that's all I,
When we ask for public comment, do you want somebody to, while we're listening, to pull that confidential voter if you don't have it, that information?
yeah, did she give it to me?
She said she did, I guess.
No. No.
All right, while she's getting that, Ms. Dorsey Walker, would you be easier if you come sit one of these chairs so you're
I knew she had,
closer to us and closer to the microphone.
all right, you can just hand it out, no worries.
At this time, we'll go into public comment. Let me get my
Oh,
little.
sorry, spread out, I'm sorry.
Sit right over there, so that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Closer, yeah, that way you're closer to the mic and we can see you. Right?
Okay.
Remember, this is, this is time that the public can address the board. We typically don't respond. Occasionally, we might comment or say something in there, but it's really just like a
Just go through it.
public testimony and do your thing, and I'll start the clock. We try to keep that on time. Let's go with.
First of all, my name is Linda Dorsey Walker. Let me say, first, do no harm. Those are words which not only physicians should live by, but also boards of elections. First, do no harm. Since Baltimore County presently owns 42 mail-in drop boxes, and there are many areas throughout the county which do not have one, why aren't every one of the ballot drop boxes in this county that you own being used consistently in every election cycle? Even if this means that sites must change from one election cycle to the next, as is the case in nearly all other Maryland jurisdictions, instead of only 36 boxes being used this year, why not have used all 42? Then, next, since Baltimore County and other counties are given every election cycle the opportunity to have an additional early voting site beyond the 11 that we already have, why would we ever refuse to request a 12th? Is it the feeling that we don't want to spoil our Baltimore County voters like other jurisdictions apparently do? Because they do ask for that option. Next, even though there's no requirement that the Board of Elections election plan be signed by the county executive or county administrator with whom the director does meet, since it's a plan that will directly impact every voter in the county, shouldn't the administration be advised first that we can have 12 early voting sites instead of just 11? Or that, for example, a few years ago, when we were able to put in a purchase order along with the rest of the state, instead of just keeping 11, that we could have bought an additional 31 additional drop boxes? Why did it fall upon me to have to go to the county executive and county administrator and apprise that they needed to have that enforced, resulting in boxes that weren't delivered until much later? Next, don't dismiss as unimportant the feelings of some Turner Station residents that the decision to stop using the Solis Point Multipurpose Center as an early voting site may have been an attempt to suppress the Black vote. They actually feel this way. Especially when the site that was selected is one that is half the size, has half the parking spaces, and has historically made many Black Turner Station residents feel unwelcome and even discriminated against. I spoke with them directly at the Fleming Center, and that's what I was told, multiple people. Don't be the board that at this very moment, please hear this part, at this very moment in the 2026 election, has one fall candidate whose name is listed with his first name as his last name. That has to be reversed because otherwise it's going to go forward with the wrong name in place. I can give you the name.
All right, thank you. That's your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to tell you at least what's wrong with this election cycle.
Okay, well, Ms.
Okay,
Dorsey
Jeff-
Walker, Ms. Dorsey Walker, that's your 3 minutes. We'll accept it. Thank you for your public testimony.
You can send it to me in writing if you want.
No, I can give it to you in writing. Because there's another person who's got a Baltimore City address.
If it's a candidate, well, never mind. Never mind.
And there's another person who doesn't have a first name listed at all.
All right, thank you. Did you get that confidential voter?
I do. Okay, so this confidential voter request came in. They are a current candidate, and they also are the spouse of a sitting judge. And there has been reason, that they, believe that their, home address needs to be confidential. You wanna, look at the,
Yeah, they provided everything you needed to
yes,
for us.
yep.
Everything received timely. They've got the proof of information in here. Here, I'll pass that to you. The confidential voter request. I want to give Peter a little background, confidential voter, and
So we don't ever say the name, obviously, of who it is. When it's a judge or a judge, they're automatically approved, but they go to the state board and they handle those. But sitting judges, law enforcement officers, undercover, as well as abuse victims, or if if someone has been threatened or harmed or has reason to believe that they, you know, could be threatened or harmed, they all follow under the possibility of being a confidential voter. Some have to reapply prior to every election cycle. Some, like sitting judges, it's like a forever, approval.
yeah, there's certain qualifications that would encourage you to be on that or to put in for that list, and you can do that and provide documentation supporting it. And generally, if they meet the qualifications and they have all of the proof, then we do approve them to go on the confidential.
Understand.
Anybody have any questions on that? Not, we will entertain a motion to approve this voter for confidential listing.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the voter who has requested confidential information be withheld.
Second. Perfect, thank you. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, aye.
So, and I forgot to say this part. When we receive a request, the same day we receive it, we go ahead and make them confidential in the system temporarily because, we wouldn't want anything to happen to that person before the board meeting. And then that way you all don't have to have a whole bunch of emergency meetings to approve these. And then there have been in the past where the board said, keep them confidential, but they need to give us more documentation or something. And then we reach out to them or give them a certain amount of time, 15 days, to return that. And then they'll get a letter saying, you're gonna be made that's the confidential status will be removed. Or they get a letter saying you've been approved for confidential status.
Do you want to grab those that need the administration of oath while we go through the announcements and disclosures?
So can I just say, I'd like to respond to three things that Ms. Dorsey Walker said, because I'm sure you all have questions. One is, Baltimore County, is, deploying 38 ballot boxes, not 36, it's 38. And we also, have to have reserve. You have to have reserve. What if something happens to a box? I need to be able to immediately replace it. My other thing is, yes, we are permitted to have a 12 site. Yes, I did ask for it. Yes, it was already in the budget for election judges. However, I don't have the equipment because we had to redistrict and I have 15 additional polling places. So I don't have the current election equipment. You can't buy anymore. Can't buy any more poll books, can't buy any more scanners. I have to have equipment if a scanner fails for election day on reserve. We're already under the percentage that we normally have in reserve because of our 15 additional polling places. And so I'm deploying everything I can, but that's why we didn't move forward. I didn't have a 12th building that I was permitted to use, and I don't have the equipment. It is still on my radar and to revisit that and try to expand to 12 for 2028. It's not been not asked for. It had, none of that is the reality. Reality is absolutely, yes, we think we need 12 early voting sites. However, we just could not do it we didn't have the resources this election cycle. When I order the poll books or the new poll books, the new voting equipment, those are increases that I'm asking for. 22 to 114. So I have these extra, so I have equipment to be able to do things like that. But because we can't buy poll books because they're from 2006 and there's none available anywhere, and I need a certain amount on reserve, and there's no more of that voting equipment that's under the current lease to get. I didn't have an option. So I just wanted to let the board know that.
I will also comment that I live less than a half a mile from the Solars Point Multipurpose Center. And I talk to many in leadership over there who talk, such as Gloria Nelson, Edie Brooks, Cynthia Mingo, and many of the people that Ms. Dorsey Walker has been speaking to. And the issue is with the Solars Point Multipurpose Center is there are lots of activities that go on there. It is a rec
Libraries
building.
to it, right?
There's a library, it's a rec building. It is used extensively by that community. And for us to shut it down for early voting makes a huge impact. So
They also rent the multipurpose room. And I didn't make that decision. I asked to go back there and the administration who said no to use Water's Edge, which you can see Water's Edge from Solars.
from the parking lot.
They're right across the street. So
That building is used.
it's
for a
the
lot of
same
work.
size. They're both gyms, so it's the same size.
It's been used 4
One
times.
isn't smaller, but I wasn't permitted to use that building. I asked for several buildings that the county said we could not use because early voting requires 9 days of 24/7, no other access. So that's why we stopped using Oregon Ridge as an early voting site because that reduced their, because they use it for weddings and especially for a June primary. So there's a lot of different factors go into, as the board knows, and into selecting the early voting sites. It's not just location and size. It's so many other things. And that process took place and the board reviewed that in October and again in November. And we received no public comments on any of the early voting sites or the ballot boxes during that entire Part 1 and Part 2 review process. I received no letters other than from Ms. Huffman about Victory Villa ballot box, and I already know, and I'm coming up with a plan to resolve any of those issues. Other than that, no one commented, no one said anything. No one gave any public comment on it, so.
All right, let's
Um,
continue on with
I
that.
know, I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, I don't know if you went to listen to the state board's last meeting, and she's probably gonna get upset, but Rui was mentioned by the board members, and I really wanted to share it with all of you because it was definitely some very nice comments so I would like you guys to listen to that.
State board.
Yes.
All right, any other new business there? If not, let's do the administration of oath.
So, this is Casey. You all know Casey. She is now, the program manager of training and, the election judge, HR program. We have to onboard
over
and
here.
hire 4,000 people.
We're being directed.
We have Christina Francis. Christina Francis is one of the HR, onboarding assistants for the election judges. This is Elena Krebs and, Kaija Gilchrist. And then everybody knows Tamika. So she's back. She's back. So you.
All right, so I will have you all raise your right hand. And I'll start with I, and you'll go down and list your names individually. We'll repeat back a couple items, and then when we get to the execute the office of, we'll go down and do your individual offices. Do they all know their titles?
Yeah, they should. Does anybody need your title? Everybody good? Okay.
Do you know it?
Administrative officer. Okay.
Administrative officer. Everybody else knows? All right, so it's I.
Hi, Casey Pilar.
Hi, Christina Francis.
Hi, Elena Krebs. Hi, Kaja Gilchrist.
Hi, Tamika Williams.
Do swear or affirm
Do swear
Repeat back to me, yeah. Everybody repeat back as a group. That I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
And that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland.
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
And support the Constitution and the laws thereof.
and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of, and we'll go down individually.
execute the office of HR and Judge Training Manager.
Get the Office of HR Administrator.
I'm so sorry, I lost what I was.
Execute the office of, and
Execute the office of HR, Administrative Officer.
Execute the, I'm sorry. you might-
office of,
Office of Administrative
Officer.
officer, and
Execute the office of Operation Election Assistant. I'm gonna say,
and then together, according to the Constitution and laws of this state.
according to the Constitution and the laws of the state.
Congratulations, welcome all.
So your election judge HR assistant.
Mhm.
Technically, your position is administrative officer, that's the classification.
Mhm.
And you're technically, you're a program manager. So that's probably what she wrote in there. That's why I'm telling you that.
Okay.
No, thank you guys. Congratulations. It's really official now. Can't go anywhere.
All right, continuing around, let's go with,
And then you just put your name.
disclosures. Let's see, I have a $50 donation to JD Urbach. And I also have a $50 donation to the Republican National Committee. We'll go around. Derek,
No, nothing.
okay, Vern,
$55 to Steve Whistler.
55.
To Steve Whistler.
Yes.
Any campaign donations? Or, we also, sometimes we disclose if I'm going to, a Republican committee meeting or some other meetings that we don't have attended any other fundraisers or any other, club meetings as well. Anybody else, if they wanted to share any of those?
The only thing, I have no financial disclosures, but I am attending the Advocacy Day in DC in April. I think it's April, I don't know, don't quote me, but it's around April 26th to, it's towards the end, and it's, it's nonpartisan. I go and I speak to Republican and Democratic senators and congressmen about election infrastructure and supporting elections, because, we get a lot of federal funding for elections. We have a new building, great security, but we need continued funding for things like our ballot box security, stuff like that. And then I also like to go and have a voice for my, brother and sister jurisdictions in Maryland and across the whole country. And because I have such an awesome county and we have this building, I'm able to share that. Like, this is what being in a building like this means. Elections are more efficient, they're more transparent, they're more secure. So I just wanted to disclose that I am going to that Advocacy Day.
And while we're in the financial, did everybody do the financial disclosure form?
I think I got everybody's. I'm almost positive.
Just double, I know it's not till April, but just making sure, we usually do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Any other announcements or anything else?
Okay, I'm letting you know, President Fuhrer. She now has to do one by law, and so does she, and I've been telling them for how long?
We're
So,
gonna make our count. Item, March 18th, which is the third Wednesday, and April 29th is the 5th. Did anybody have any issues? I believe we mentioned those last time, because
Yeah.
Mark, yeah, I've got them both on there.
Both in person, right?
yes.
Any other questions about the meeting or anything?
No, I sent you the the Canvas schedule. And I didn't know whether you wanted, how you wanted me to do that. Like, did you want to, I was gonna say, do you want me to bring, how do you want to do that? Are you gonna send it like you did last time to everybody
Yeah,
electronically?
I'll say she did send that, that's the dates that we need to have our board quorum. So what we can do is, if everybody can put their, let's say, for instance, we have to have at least 1 and 1 and 3. So we have to have 3 members, at least 1 Republican and 1 Democrat, 3 Democrats. You have to have at least 1 rep, 1 Dem, and somebody else. Put your name on every one that you can and mark ones that you can't, just so we know. And then we'll compile the list. And if 5 people can be here, we can all be here if we want to, but we'll lock in and say, me, and me, the 3 of us definitely are going to be here to make sure we have it. Doesn't mean you can't come, but if something comes up and you're not, that way we know who's guaranteed to be here to make sure we meet the quorum. You can come to every meeting if you want to, but that way we'll lock in. Because I know there's 1 or 2 that my wife would like me to be home on our anniversary and celebrate, but
Election dates, they keep running into Will's anniversary.
I do the 4th of July parade in Dundalk, so I would like the day before off because I'll be like a crazy maniac. So hopefully we can, but we're all adults.
Oh, and
We've got the schedule.
so I put all the dates on there.
So we'll lock
We needed more in the general.
One minor correction on that form.
Saturday.
Yes,
Yes, it
What
should be
did I
the
do?
6th.
20.
You put 6-2 and 6-2. It just needs 6-6 a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw. Okay. We got time, another week and a half.
I know that there was a couple board members that were trying to make some plans, so
we
that's.
kind
why
of
I'm
have some
glad
plans
we're
in there,
last
so we
one.
can do that, today, the 24th.
Because it does pretty much consume the whole start of your summer.
By next Friday, if we can all, maybe that gives us a week and a half to look at it and respond back to it. That way we can lock it in. And it doesn't mean if something comes up the road a month from now, and we need to adjust, we can do that. But that way, if everybody puts it in, that'll help us get our availability together. And Al will be here every day. I see a smiling face. I know.
I think he only missed one and I can't remember why it was.
Well, the one.
Well, to know when we had this conversation as well. It got to be a long conversation, didn't it? I was planning on going out to the Grand Canyon again, figured early in June I'd be okay. So they moved the election up.
Right, and so he says, when does early voting start? And I said, well, June 11th. He said, oh darn. Because I wanted, and I said, well, you can still go. You don't have to be here or be available. No. So, but I still want you to go to the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Any other meeting announcements or anything else we need to go before we go into a closed session? Anybody have anything?
We want to listen to that, that's it.
It's not long. Is it long?
It's just a certain.
Oh, just that one clip.
Oh, I mean,
All right. I did know I was gonna have to speak because normally the state board doesn't ever ask questions. So I said a lot. I listened to it that night. And the question threw me. I didn't expect that question. So like, you know how you plan for questions in advance? So everything I planned for, they didn't ask me. The one thing I really didn't, but I still answered it. I'm just saying that because I say a lot. Sorry.
but it was extremely flattering. And it was extremely nice to hear the things that they had to say about our leader here. So that's why I figured it needed to be.
So they were reviewing our polling place plan. This was that meeting that I had to attend.
It's the that
This one?
glowing review.
Oh, you guys are funny.
It was though.
No, you could have told me about this first.
I didn't want,
In other lives, I've had,
You want me to share my screen for people that are on virtual?
You can just hear it. That's
Can they hear it? That's good, yeah.
Unless I
So,
show.
yeah, you're gonna have to
fine. Share screen then.
grind it a little bit. Yeah, I think there's 2 people on.
in other lives, I've had, opportunity to work and it's been tremendously superlative in those observations. So as the discussion goes about precincts and polling places and lines, I didn't want to conflate the leadership in Baltimore County with that discussion. I appreciate Ms. LaVoy's discussion and response as it relates to voter confusion and her diligence. But because the comment came up right next to it, I want to be clear that in other lives and other ways that I've participated in the democracy, I've seen what has been described as superlative and positive leadership coming out of that office. I wanted to be fair and put that on the record publicly.
Thank you very much, Member Brian. Thank you so much. I'm gonna share that with my team.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
So it was that was the state board meeting. So Member Bryan is one of the state board members, and then Diane Butler is the Republican state board member. She's the one that said, I agree, Rui. And then the chair said, he concurs with his colleagues. And then, yeah, it made me, I got a little teary eyed when they said, I said, go Baltimore County. You know, we love our county.
you can have this.
Thanks.
There's a longer version on there too, so.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that because then you hear me. I thought you were gonna play that part where I was saying,
I didn't
the
stay here the rest of the day. Thank you.
Listen.
Thank you.
Anything else before we discuss our closed session? So, what we typically do is we'll go in the closed session and we'll let the viewing public know that further business for the open session. So we'll go into closed and then once we finish with close, we'll come back to an open session just to close out our meeting. So there's no further business. That way those watching virtually know you can drop off when we do decide to go into our closed session. All right, does that make sense for everybody? All right, so we are going to entertain a motion to go into closed session for the topic of personnel, which is one of the qualifications or one of the standards that we can go into a closed session. So will someone make a motion
I'll
for?
make a motion that we move into closed session.
All right, Al has motioned
Second.
and Laverne has second. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all of those in favor of going into a closed session, say aye. All right, let's, well, before, so can we get a 5-minute break? Use the restroom.